Hello. It's an honor to spend a couple minutes with the greatest Air Force in the history of the planet. We're the greatest Air Force because of you, our airmen. Your commitment and your dedication and your pursuit of excellence makes us this winning team that is the envy of all others in the world. Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Dave Flossie, and I have been together for almost a year now. And in that time, we've traveled all around the world and we've heard from a lot of airmen. And we've got some feedback. And some of that feedback we've taken back to our senior leaders, senior commanders, and the senior enlisted leaders in our Air Force. And we made a couple decisions. Now, sometimes when those decisions are made, they find their way into the infosphere and becomes very active. And it's a great place to have dialogue, but sometimes that dialogue is informed, and sometimes it's partially informed, and sometimes it might be even misinformed. So ahead of these decisions coming up, we want to take the opportunity to talk to you directly, to give you the why behind some of these decisions that we've made. We've made some policy changes and some updates to standards in the past few years that in the aggregate have become more complicated, more complex. And what that has led to is that they aren't often as easy to understand. And they're difficult to understand, they may be difficult to comply with, and may be more challenging and difficult to enforce. This has opened up an environment in some cases where if these new standards and policies are difficult to enforce, we have selective enforcement. This selective enforcement can lead to situations where the airmen believe that they have the opportunity to do selective compliance. This is where the danger lies. Because as airmen decide for themselves whether they should comply with the tech order or safety regulations or other instructions, they may make the wrong choice. That's uninformed. And the damage is to property, is to our equipment, but most importantly, we get airmen injured or killed. That's what's at stake, and that is what is driving some of these decisions. So in the weeks and months to come, we're going to be reviewing some of these policies, the waivers and the exceptions, and we're going to be reviewing them to ensure that they are easy to understand, easy to comply with, and easy to enforce. And along the way, we want to ensure they are aligned across our entire United States Air Force. Now, as we make these decisions, we're not going to wait for a year or 2 years to roll out an entire batch. As we make the decisions, we're going to distribute them to the force to start enforcing as they come to you. Wait a minute, Chief. You just said they're complex and they're sometimes hard to understand and hard to enforce. Well, this is why we're also directing that episodically we have the formations come together in uniform to do a couple things. The first thing is to be able to look at yourself, look at your teammate, hold yourself and him or her accountable to ensure that you're in standards, you are proud that you are wearing this uniform in a manner that befits the call to arms that we have answered. At the same time, it offers the opportunity for the command leadership to be able to share the very latest and the updated guidance so we're all on the same sheet of music. Remember earlier I talked about we want to have it aligned across our United States Air Force. These formations where we're standing in uniform, looking each other in the eye, and reinforcing our commitment to your teammates and to the team is how we will ensure that we remain on the same sheet and have these new standards enforced across our United States Air Force. Now, you do not need to wait until the next policy change comes out or the next standard update comes out to enforce standards. Enforcing standards shows your commitment to the institution, shows that you have the seriousness about the lethality and the danger of this profession that we've all chosen, and you are ready to perform with excellence, and you are ready to support your teammate and have the trust that when you're in complicated situations, disconnected from leadership, in small teams, trying to solve complex problems, everyone knows that everyone's dedicated to the team above the individual. That's what it means to be a part of a winning team. When the stakes are as high as they are now, we need the best winning team on the field that we can have. We have that team in the United States Air Force. Let's make it better, let's make it stronger, and let's let it win by more by having better standards and accountability and being proud not only to wear the uniform, but to have the discipline that is the backbone of the greatest Air Force in the history of the planet.